everybody, and welcome to this episode of Something Suddenly Came Up, a retro review. I'm Leanne, and this is my big sis, known as the Groovy Granny, and we are going to talk about all things 60s, 70s, 80s, pop culture, TV, movies, anything and everything that's fun, but no politics. And today's is especially 70s, 80s special. Really, it is. And tell them, Groovy Granny, what it's all about.
Well, I'm excited to delve into this one
I
because
am
we have
too.
mentioned it in some of our other videos, and
Yeah.
it's like something we constantly refer to, and it is called the Battle of the Network Stars.
So fun.
Yes, it is something I don't think you would see again in this type of entertainment industry that we have now. It's a very unique thing, I think, to those times, which I think it started in 1976 and maybe went through like 85,
I
86.
did a little research on this one
Okay.
because I was trying to remember, and it said 76 to 88. There were 19 episodes altogether.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's longer than I thought
Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the premise of it, I think that in case people should know, it aired on ABC, but there were only
Mhm.
three main
Yes.
networks, NBC, ABC, and CBS, which is part of what made this so special. There really weren't, we didn't even have cable when this first came
No.
out, you know?
No
So
Fox even.
no Fox. Yeah. We just had those little local channels that we watch, cartoons on or whatever.
Right.
But it was stars from each of the networks doing, it felt like field day, right? It felt
Yeah.
like field day at elementary school. It was
And
kind of like little funny sports.
and we'll like kind of go through the events that they
Yeah.
typically did.
Mhm.
And honestly though, some of them, I'm sure most of these actors, well, not most of them, but a good portion of them were fit people just by nature of the
Right,
business
right,
that they're in.
right.
But, they would give 110%
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
and quite often get injured.
Yeah.
And like, I just cannot imagine. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be negative, but the stars of today coming out and putting a ponytail on and not any makeup and giving 110% with the possibility of getting injured or even that their agents would let them do that.
I
Like,
can't picture that either. I think this is also something interesting. We live in a world now where, everybody, it's very common for someone to go to the gym. It's very common to go on Instagram and everybody's like, oh, here I am doing a biceps curl. Here I am doing this.
mhm,
But that really, although by virtue of being in the industry, I bet their agents were like, stay slim or do this.
mhm.
You didn't really see a lot of people being gym conscious or athletes. There were a lot of beautiful people, of course, but um, so I think the interesting thing about Battle of the Network Stars is you saw the athleticism of
Yes,
these actors. And it really was across the board. You'd Mr. Kotter, Gabe Kaplan, against somebody
surprisingly.
like Bob Conrad, who a lot of you might not know Robert Conrad, but he was on Westworld, Baba Black Sheep, a very man's man, kind of little tough guy.
Wild
Very,
Wild West, I think was
yes,
him too,
yes.
wasn't it?
That was the one yes. So we
Yeah.
concur with that one. And always very tan. You could tell he's an outdoorsman. And then you Telly Savalas as the other captain. So those were the three main captains. And again, Mr. Cotter, although a comedian, pretty athletic, really.
Shockingly so.
Yeah, exactly.
Not what you would expect at all, but
Yeah,
very surprising at what his abilities were.
yeah, yeah.
So how
And
should we start this? Do you want to like kind of go over what the typical events were?
yes, let's just tell how it went. I think the most fascinating thing is Howard Cosell
Oh,
is
yes.
the
We must start with
commentator,
that. You're right.
which we could probably do a three-part series on how people felt about Howard Cosell, much less who he was. But he was an actual sports commentator at the time, kind of an abrasive, kind of cranky guy,
Super abrasive.
but very quick with the tongue, very quick-witted, and And when I went back and did a little research, because it's been a hot minute since I've seen Battle of the Network Stars, although I made my kids watch it on YouTube a few years ago, um, he really sold it like athleticism. I mean, he
Yeah.
was like
Yeah.
invested. But what I thought was so interesting about Howard Cosell is he definitely, although in a way it might feel absurd that Richie Cunningham is, racing against I don't know, Freddie Boom Boom Washington, but at the same time, he really got into it. Like I think that's Howard Cosell. He's
I think
very in
often
your
he
face.
was surprised at the
I think
abilities
so
of some of
too.
these
I
stars,
think so
and
too.
would get excited when, like, they just really excelled.
But treated it very much, excuse me, like a legitimate sporting event,
Yeah. Yeah,
you
definitely.
know? So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, the three networks, you had a captain, and then you just had random stars from the shows on the network. Some of them kind of obscure shows that maybe only lasted a few episodes. Some of them are favorites from Laverne and Shirley and Charlie's Angels.
Yes. The big
Um,
stars
the
of the
big
time
stars.
on the
Miss
TV
Linda
net.
Carter, girl.
Yes.
Um, but really quite athletic, like you said, really showing some serious athleticism. I
And what I
thought that was
find
interesting.
interesting is, let's use Linda Carter as an example.
Yeah,
The role that she played was a very athletic role.
that's
So if
true.
she were to get injured at this Battle of the Network Stars, I mean, it would have greatly affected the
Can
production
you
of the
imagine the waiver or whatever the new Battle of the
I
Networks?
mean, seriously, like, I'm surprised that they let her do
I
it.
know all the Charlie's Angels did it. Oh,
Yes,
oh my
same
gosh.
thing, an athletic,
Happy
more
Days cast. If one of them
Mhm.
broke an ankle, they'd be screwed. Laverne and
Yes.
Shirley, all of those people. And then
Yeah.
later, like the cast of the nighttime soaps were on it. Um, but definitely a total who's who of the 70s. Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Yes. Well, let's kind of break down
Yeah.
the
Let's
events.
tell what it's about. Yeah, for sure.
So typically in the ones that I have gone back and reviewed, I've watched them
Yeah.
a couple times. They can be found on YouTube, by the
They
way.
can full episodes. They're rather grainy, but they're there.
Yes, they're not the greatest of quality.
Right,
There's a
right.
few that were redone with, I think it's called the Game Show Vault, maybe, or something like
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah.
So they've maybe fixed it a little bit. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, for the most part, they're a little bit grainy, or a lot grainy, but still very fun and very fun to watch. I'm
And
sorry,
it's not a
something
joke. When you see the first few seconds and they have it, it seems like it's tongue in cheek, but it is not. These stars are really full tilt competing.
I'm terribly sorry. My neighbor has decided to weed whack.
I
Can
can't
you
hear it from
can you
here.
hear it? I've
I
I've
can't
got my
hear it unless
microphone
I,
closer to me, so I'm
yeah,
sorry, you guys. It's
unless
just
I really
the
lean in,
life,
I can't hear it.
this is the world.
Yeah, it is. It
So
is.
I'm hoping it's not bothering anyone. But
It is.
um yeah, so typically they would start out in the pool, usually. It
Mhm.
would usually start with either the kayak relay. And at the very beginning, like the first few episodes of it, or seasons, or whatever you call it, they had a little blow up kayak. Like,
Mhm.
it was,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
a blow up swimming pool for a kid. It was a blow up kayak, and controlling those was like crackers, and no matter what great athlete you were. So in one of the episodes, I don't know if anybody remembers the actor Bo Svensson.
Oh, sure.
I can't
Sure.
remember the
Big,
name of the
tall, blad guy, big, tall, blonde guy. I couldn't get it out.
Yes. You were going to say bad guy. Was he a
I was
bad
going
guy?
to say bad guy, but he's usually actually, I think he played like a sheriff in a show or
Yeah,
something.
I can't remember what show he
I
was
was going to
on.
say blonde guy and bad guy at the same time.
But
But yeah,
but
but I
the
do feel like he did play a bad guy too on shows. He seems like a guy that would pop up on Charlie's Angels as a bad guy. He's
well,
a great big
sometimes,
blonde guy.
yeah, sometimes I confuse him with Bo Hopkins,
Oh, Bo Hopkins always played a sleazebag.
a sleazy guy. Oh, almost always, right?
Bo Svensson's a big, tall guy. There was a movie, and I can't think of who starred in it, but he played a sheriff, and he went and got the bad guys with a baseball bat. And
Oh,
then Bo Svensson, I believe, did a TV version of that. People
yeah,
tell the name
Walking
of it.
Tall. That's what it
Walking
was
Tall. That's
called.
it.
Yes.
That's it. But
And
I
you're
do believe I picture him playing a bad guy because he's a big, tall, blonde, kind of meaty
very
guy.
big
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
And so when in the kayak relay, you would have to get out of the boat and someone else jump in and start going. Well, he kind of jumped in and he sunk the boat. Like,
Yeah. He's a
and
big
he
guy. He's a
tried
big
to get
guy.
it back together, but the whole time he was at the tail end of the boat and it kept going under the water because he was such a big, heavy man. But as the games went on in the years, they got better kayaks, I
Yes,
noticed.
but here's the preposterous thing about this relay race is you in one lane have like Penny Marshall. Then in another lane, you have somebody super athletic like Richard Hatch from
Mm-hmm.
Battlestar. And in the third lane, you have Christy McNichol, who at the time is like 13,
Yes.
going against each other. And then Christy McNichol's going to hop out, and Hal Linden from Barney Miller is going to jump in. And on the other lane, Marsha Wallace from the Bob Newhart show. I mean, it's a very mismatched levels, age levels, levels of athleticism, which is what made it fun. But as I went back and watched it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just funny
Yes.
to watch the different, and then they're gonna, like you said, they had to then somehow hop out. The next person hops in. And yeah, it was a relay with a blow up kayak.
Yes, definitely in the first several ones of them. And then I think they got a more realistic, sturdy kayak, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like one of the ones I watched, Parker Stevenson, who
Yes.
is
And the Hardy Boys.
he was on the crew team at Princeton. So can you imagine having gone from that to this little blow up boat that they're expecting you to do good because they're talking about the fact you were
Right.
on the crew team and
Right.
managing this little blow up boat, which of course he did very well
I'm
because he
sure,
was
but
a very
still,
good
yeah.
athlete.
Yeah. And then next to, like Gary Coleman or somebody who's, you're not exactly
Charlene
physically
Tilton, who
matched
could
up.
barely see over top of the
Yeah, she's like this big and a big
yeah,
head of hair. Yeah.
yes.
Oh my
But
gosh.
then
But
the one that I'm sorry, Lee, go
no, I was
ahead.
going to say the kayak race I really liked. It was a nail biter. And
It
people
was an
always went the wrong way and they couldn't get their little kayak and they went into the wrong lane. And there'd always
yes
be
at the
someone that just blew
beginning.
it.
At the in the first two, I think they were only going down and back. I
Hmm.
mean, they were only going down and then they would switch and go
Oh,
back.
yes. And someone will
It
come
was
back.
a
Yeah.
much shorter, but
Yeah.
then they added the difficulty of going around the buoy. So you had to go
Yes.
down and back and go around this buoy,
Yes.
which made it triply
Yes.
hard.
Yes. It was a nail biter, I gotta
It
tell you
was.
guys.
It
And
was.
just what a strange, like I said, cross section of stars that really were not necessarily matched, evenly matched.
Totally. Like Flip Wilson was one of them. Like he was a
Hmm.
captain actually at one
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Super funny, but he actually ran better than I thought because he
Right.
was
Right. Right.
a little bit overweight at that time.
Yes.
But
Yes.
anyway, but
Yeah.
the one that always impressed me was the swimming relay because
Oh,
that
yeah.
was for real. Like
Hmm.
they were really trying to win. That's what I love so much about the competitiveness of these people. They weren't just there for the paycheck.
Well, when you think about it, it is a competitive industry. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of these people, that was, I guess, going to be my point before. I think a lot of them stayed fit because they were playing beach volleyball and jogging through the neighborhood and swimming laps in their pool and
Yes.
golfing and hitting at the batting cages. I think there was just a different level. Not that people don't do that now, but like I said, I don't think they were in the gym like 5 more reps. I think they were literally like Robert Conrad again, very athletic, very
Yes.
strong. Linda Carter's a good swimmer. She was in that relay race
Yes.
for sure. I mean, in the swimming relay, but very surprisingly athletic for sure.
And like one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting is I remember in the 80s that NBC was really faltering at that time. Well, late
Pre-Golden
70s,
Girls. It was
pre-Cosby show.
yes, yes, pre-Cheers,
Yes,
all of
they
that.
were
Yeah,
really struggling,
they
and it
were.
really shows at the people and the names of the shows that were representing NBC, because I'd be like, what was that? I
It
don't
lasted one season is what it
Yeah.
means. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And even people that I was like, I've never heard of that person. So clearly they didn't really go on and
Yeah.
have any sort of other career, which is so interesting in a way that
It is interesting.
I think we almost lost NBC
Yeah.
in the shuffle at that time. And then I think, was it Fred Silverman that came and saved
It
NBC?
it might be. I remember, I'm pretty sure, and you can correct me. I think Chips was on NBC, and I know that
Yes.
pretty well. That I remember always seeing the cast of Chips on, including that Randy Oakes, who's such a strong, she was a strong
Randy
swimmer.
Oakes was a really strong
Mhm.
athlete. But
You know,
Larry Wilcox did it a lot.
yeah, you know who she's married to for like all these years is Gregory Harrison from Trapper John, MD.
It would
Is
not
that what he's
surprise me if they met on the Battle of the Network Stars, because he was on there a good bit
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
He
yeah.
was a
But
good
that's the
athlete.
only 70s show from that time I remember being a little popular, both pre-Cosby and all those things.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, they took it extremely seriously. And on a side note, again, I can't say enough about how grating Howard Cosell is, because what I found interesting when I went back and watched, there was an episode that had Sonny Bono was on competing.
I watched that one recently.
Yeah, and Howard Cosell, the questions he asked these stars, because there's a moment where he's supposed to hone in on a star and kind of talk them up, but it
Mhm.
ends up being this kind of grating tell-all. And apparently at that moment, and for people that don't know, so Sonny and Cher had their comedy hour, which was very wildly
Mhm.
successful. Then they divorced. He had Sonny's comedy review. She had a show just called Cher, and they both only lasted one
Mhm.
season. So they got back together and did Sonny and Cher again. Left a bad taste in all of our mouths, just wasn't there. But this was the time that he was on. And so Howard's like, Sonny Bono, he's a great guy. He's quite an athlete and a firecracker. And he's like, but, he's here after this happened and that happened. And he was just trying to make him look like an idiot whose wife left him.
Yeah.
It was such an interesting.
Whose wife had all the talent, and
Right, right,
who would have
right.
never gotten into show business if it wasn't for Sonny, I think.
Well, true, but there's also the share side of it that he had cheated on her and tried to embezzle all her money out of her. But
And
he was,
manipulated her
yes,
very much
but
so.
I just thought it was funny. It wasn't like, oh, he's on a hit show and here he is. He's so scrappy. He's a great golfer, apparently. He did a great job at that. He was good at the kayak. He's a scrappy little dude. Everybody who's
Yeah.
ever seen Sonny Bono. Um, but I just thought it was so funny. And then, of course, that classic one where he says to Farrah Fawcett that finish your race because you've got to go home and make Lee's dinner about
Yeah.
Lee Majors. And he was dead ass serious, y'all. And she was like, well, I do need to. Yeah,
That's the one thing about him that
Lee's dinner.
was the worst for me. I felt like he was very much a chauvinist.
Oh,
Oh
100%.
my gosh, in the
100%.
most obvious and disgusting way, like
Yeah.
things that just didn't need, even if you thought that way, why
Yeah.
would you say it?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
especially in a setting like that, you
that
know?
was very much the tone of this short little interview of Sonny, that he's like, he's such a trooper after being screwed over. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was like that.
Yeah.
He said kind of like that. It's like, dude, you
Yeah.
don't know what happened.
Again, not necessary
Yeah,
at
yeah,
all.
yeah. But he just asked him this embarrassing. Oh, I know the embarrassing question was like, how do you go on, with a person that you used to love or something like that? And Sonny's like, well, we have a different relationship now. I care about her. She cares about me. But out on the freaking, on the field with him holding Chastity in an arm, who they
And her
divorced
hearing
Chastity, you
that
guys.
question, which
Yeah.
is really terrible.
Yeah, yes,
Ugh.
yes, yes. But anyway, that was the side weird note, is that Howard Cosell always had to get in there and say something inappropriate. And he would sometimes, y'all, have guest commentators. And I think the most famous pairing was O.J. Simpson and at that time Bruce Jenner.
Yes.
So that was an
Lives
interesting,
drastically
yeah.
changed later in life, you know?
Yes,
I mean,
yes, yes.
one of those surprising things that,
Yeah.
you think back on and you're like, wow, things
But
got different.
again, but again, the two of them even treated it I think Bruce Jenner, and I'm saying Bruce Jenner again because that would be accurate for the time frame, and I think anyone would agree with that. Bruce Jenner knew to joke along a little bit, but they did treat it like we're commentators at a sporting event.
Right.
You
I
know,
actually
so
thought Bruce Jenner could have had a commentating career. I think
yeah,
he
yeah,
was pretty good at it, I
yeah,
thought. Very
yeah,
knowledgeable, very friendly, very
yeah.
well-spoken.
Right, right.
Actually, OJ did a pretty good job too, which
Well,
is
that's what OJ does, right? He
yeah,
would be affable, and then we didn't know what he was doing at home. Yeah, he was a monster at
exactly.
home. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that was the interesting pairing that we had.
And
But at
you
the
know,
time, again, all very famous athletes.
yes. And interesting too, like when he would have some of the former female contestants be his co-host,
Hmm.
just despicable.
Yeah,
God, like,
yeah.
just making comments that are so trying to kiss them and oy vey.
That was such a common thing then, you guys. If you ever watch Family Feud with Richard Dawson, you can get
Yes.
out like Feud. He just kisses, it could be a 12-year-old or your very old grandma,
Yeah.
right? On the
It'd
panel.
be like, keep
And
your
Richard
paws off.
Dawson, yeah, Richard Dawson would try to kiss them. And it was just part of his shtick.
It was,
But
yeah.
at the same time, it was when you look back on it, you're like cringe. Just
Super cringeworthy.
super,
Super.
super
Yeah.
cringeworthy. But anyway, yes. So there was the Howard Cosell, but on the surface of it too, I think the Howard commentary lended to the quirkiness of the show too.
It kind of did. It
Yeah.
kind of did. Yeah. It
Not the
just was a
rude
different
commentary.
time
Yeah,
too.
not the rude
Yeah.
commentary. I more mean the like, I'm delivering it like it's a sports game,
Yeah.
like it's
He was doing his commentary like
yes.
Monday Night Football,
Yeah, exactly.
and
Exactly.
quite honestly, he would be that tough on the players too in Monday
Yeah,
Night Football, where he would make these
that's true.
off-color comments,
That is very true. Yeah.
and everybody just sort of accepted it as he was, but
Yeah.
he had that job for a very long
He
time. Like,
did. He
he hung
did.
in the business for a long time, and to my
Yeah.
knowledge, he was never an athlete, so
No.
that's what
No.
makes it especially weird.
No.
But anyway, if we go
Yeah.
back to the events, in the middle, after this, between the swimming and the running, which I
Mhm.
thought were the two areas of the most legitimate
Right. Right.
abilities,
Right.
they would sometimes show these and sometimes just say, earlier we did this
Yes.
and here was
Yes,
the
they sure
outcome.
did.
It would be like golf. They had some tennis, they,
Volleyball.
the volleyball, the
Mhm.
football.
Mhm.
They actually showed the football a lot, which is another, if you watch those, you're like, a lot of people got hurt on those, because they would be like diving for it and like,
And
things
again,
that,
you have Penny Marshall playing against like Telly Savalas or whatever.
right, right. Or you would have, they wouldn't be able to tackle each other, but they practically would,
Yeah, it's
like
still got a little,
you're
yeah.
gonna pull a
Yeah.
knee, you're gonna,
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
and
Exactly.
you saw it happen an awful lot. But those
Yeah.
were kind of the main ones that I can recall. Oh, they had bowling once,
Oh God.
and they
Well, there
made
was
like this outdoor bowling alley.
remember there was a show like Celebrity Bowling. It was a
Yes,
thing then. It was
there
a
was.
thing.
I know,
Oh
so
my gosh.
crazy.
The thing I liked was they called it the baseball toss, but it was really a dunk tank. So you'd have a star in the dunk tank talking trash and all these people coming out to
Yes,
throw. And that's actually when you hear like his name was Kevin Dobson from Knots Landing, but he was
yeah,
also on Streets of San Francisco in
yes.
the 70s. And he was an ex like major league player. So
Oh,
he
I
was
didn't know that.
just winging this thing and dunking people.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I
he
always
ducked
thought
Grizzly
that
Adams.
I always thought that part of the show was just an excuse to see the women's swimsuits be wet
Could be. It could be.
and the men in the little Speedos be
Yeah,
wet.
that's another thing. Battle of the Network Stars always had Speedos. The ladies did wear one
They
pieces
wore
usually,
one
yeah.
piece.
And then they
Yes.
wore the short shorts and the little tank with, and it always had like the stripes down the side and the tall
Yes.
socks. The
Yes.
tall socks, yeah.
Yeah, like the what do you call those
Like
socks?
tube socks.
Tube socks, that's
Mhm,
it.
mhm.
Yes, yes.
But it
And
was
then
fun. It was okay. Sorry, go ahead.
no, you.
No, I was just going to say, I always liked, though, that you really did see kind of, they looked like they were having fun. Like you saw them in the
Very
audience
much.
laughing and chuckling it up. And, it's just cool, I think, at the time because I mean, we had Rona Barrett with her magazine and reporting, but we didn't get to see much behind the scenes of our favorite stars. So this was
Right.
like to see Ron Howard chuckling it up with, Carl Malden from Streets of San Francisco or whatever. It's cool.
It is
I'm
very
not saying he
cool.
was on the show. I know I should remember that, but everybody from Streets of San Francisco otherwise was on. Anybody that was ever on. But just to see the stars doing something different.
Interacting with each other.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
cool, right?
Yeah,
And
very much
now
so.
and now we see them on Instagram and we know their political views and we know everything about everything. We just saw them on screen. And so it's so fun to see them, Joni and Chachi and everybody compete. It was fun.
So true. So
Every
true.
Heather, all the Heathers were there. Wait, not those Heathers, you guys, not the movie Heathers, but Locklear, Heather Thomas. So their third Heather. Those are the two quintessential Heathers.
Yeah.
Heather Locklear and Heather Thomas. Don't you
The
worry
two
about any of the
two
rest.
blondies. Very pretty girls for
Yeah,
sure.
right. And very similar look at the time.
Well, then when whatever one of the ones we just named would they pick to actually show, then after that, it would usually be the obstacle course, which was another area that always had an injury,
Yeah.
like kind of bad injuries. Like,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
So they would first have to run under a net.
Mm-hmm.
So they would scoot under that. Then
Yep.
they'd have the tire thing,
Yes,
run
that
through the
alone's an
tire.
ankle cracker, that
Mhm.
tire thing.
Then the monkey bars, they'd have
Yeah.
to run and go across the monkey bars, and they would have to touch the first one and the last one, and
Yeah.
whoever they got in between was okay.
Yeah.
And then they'd go over that wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, the men had the high wall, the women had the lower wall. And at the beginning, they were stepping into a net and going up
Yes.
over.
Yeah.
Talk about ankle injuries and things happening to them. It's like,
I wonder
and
if
then they would have to like hold this rope and jump over this water pit.
that's right, the water pit. And then once you
Yes.
get to the other side, you kind of go back a little and you have to like
Yes.
somehow get on
You
the other
lose
side.
your momentum too. And
Mhm.
so many people got hurt on that because
Right.
they would hit their ankle or their knee
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
off of that. And then you would have to sprint to the finish line.
Mhm.
And there were some big standouts in that, though.
Yeah.
Scott Baio was one of them. And granted, he was younger. So some people were like,
He
oh, we
was
got all the
very young.
youngsters
Yeah.
here. But I think he held the record until Mark Harmon came along.
Interesting. Mark Harmon's such a fit guy. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
man, just a complete athlete for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, he was
Definitely.
quarterback at UCLA, I think, or
Yeah.
USC, one of those
Oh my
two.
gosh. Yeah.
But
Very athletic.
not to mention incredibly gorgeous.
I was going to say Mark Herman has a lot of attributes, I would imagine.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, he's and now people know him from NCIS now,
Right,
but I
right.
wonder what he would have been on then that he was on Battle of the
The
Net.
first thing that he came on was Flamingo Road.
Oh, yes, that had Morgan Fairchild, right?
Yes, it did. And
Oh,
also an
yeah.
actress named Christina Rains. And
Okay.
she would be on it with him. And
Mhm.
we came to find out they were in a relationship.
Whoa.
And
That's
then they were together for a while. And then he got with Pam Dauber.
Yeah, from Mork and Mindy. Yeah, and they've been together
Yeah.
all these years. Yeah, him and Pam
Yes.
Dauber. Um, yeah, I mean, I know the Angels were always athletic. All
Yes.
of the Charlie's Angels are quite athletic. Like I said, surprisingly, Gabe Kaplan, athletic.
Yeah.
Who are some other stands out? Penny Marshall, she would always play it kind of smiling,
Total
like, oh,
shock.
can I do it? But man, she would go full tilt.
Yes.
Wow.
So usually the last ones, they would do this tandem bike race. Also very dangerous because they were going fast.
Yes.
And it was also a relay. So it was
Hmm.
a man in the front and a woman in the back. but
Mhm.
that's the way it was.
Mhm.
And they would then do their round, and then it would be the next two on their team. So it was like a
Yeah.
relay as well
Yeah.
as people on
Yeah.
the bike.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to lose control on a tandem bike,
Oh, yeah.
especially when you're going that fast. And
Yeah.
they did have a couple of wipeouts, nothing that anybody got terribly hurt on, but again, there were always a few standouts that would surprise you about who they would be. And then they would do the running relay, another one where I would always be very impressed with their running ability, people that would surprise the daylights out of you, that they were that. And Gabe Kaplan was at the top of the list. And I think I mentioned this in a previous one we did, but Robert Conrad, and Gabe Kaplan were often captains of the
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
And so there was a race that they ran where there was a controversy, and Robert Conrad's team got uh, penalized in some way, which
Uh-huh.
caused them to lose. And
Mhm.
Gabe Kaplan's team then won. So they, it was the big staged argument, yada, yada,
I
yada.
think a staged argument, but I think Bob Conrad is a hothead.
Oh, yes.
I think in real
Very
life he's a
competitive
hothead.
dude.
Mhm. Mhm.
Very, very
Mhm.
competitive. And so Gabe Kaplan said, why don't we have a captain runoff? And Bob Conrad was like, okay. Like, I think he was not thinking
He
that
didn't
Gabe,
know Mr. Cotter's very full head of curls are aerodynamic, apparently.
apparently so,
And that big mustache.
because Bob Conrad like ran real hard and was ahead a little bit. And all of a sudden, Gabe
Mr.
Kaplan just took
Cotter.
off and crushed him. I mean, it
Yeah,
was like
he did.
crazy.
He did. Oh my gosh.
I
I
love
saw,
it
so
so
the
much.
episode I saw to refresh myself is the episode right after that controversy. Okay. So the beginning when they show each of the captains. And so we've got Bob Conrad was for, I'm refreshing myself, NBC. Gabe Kaplan was ABC, and Telly Savalas was CBS. So
Yes.
Bob Conrad's trash talking. I'm gonna come back after we got ripped off or whatever, and I'm gonna, we're gonna win. And Telly Savalas says, you're not going to get nickel one, baby. Because they did win a bit of prize money, which may have, but at this point, though, that level of prize money, none of them needed it. It was for fun, I'm
But
sure.
you know what? Back then, I think they did.
Well,
They didn't
maybe
make
the
like
studios
Jennifer
got everything.
Aniston per episode
No.
amounts that they do now.
Hell,
Let's
they
be
might have
real.
been contracted to go on these things to make their show look better, honestly.
Yes,
I'm
for
sure they were.
publicity for the
Yeah.
shows, certainly. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think they wanted a little bit in their pocket too,
Mhm.
like that was definite. I mean, all three, you know, first, second, or third, you were going to get some money, but it
Yeah.
was more
Yeah.
for winning and,
Right. Not going to
down
get
the
nickel
line.
one, baby. That's what he
Well, Telly
said.
Savalas also said sort of what I just said about NBC. He said to Bob Conrad, like, what did you do? Go draft some people from the NFL or whatever? He's like, who are these people? I've never heard of any of them. He's like, are they even actors? Bob Conrad's like, you'll know who they are after this game or whatever.
No, you won't. I don't even know, and I know all of it.
Oh my
If we
gosh.
don't know, you won't know. No, it's
Uh,
true. Well, it's funny because, like, again, shows now that no one even has heard of, like Baba Black Sheep with Robert Conrad, if anyone's even heard of him at this point. But
yeah.
all the random little stars from his show were on, and not to downplay anybody, I'm sure you were great on the show, but the ones that you didn't know their names are necessary.
Yes.
They
Yes.
were on. And like you said, just people from those one-off canceled shows. Jane Seymour, who's so popular and ended up having a great show later, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, and everybody knows her from miniseries and from Live and Let Die, the Bond movie. I think that was her
Yeah.
first screen appearance, but she was on and she had been in some little knockoff show, some not
Yes.
knockoff show, but some little show. And
On NBC, by the way.
I had to write it down because this made me laugh. So she's going in the canoe or in the kayak, and this is what Howard Cosell said. He's like, I like this speedy little import from England. I was like,
She
that's
was
funny.
so pretty. Oh my God.
She
She
is
still
so,
is. Like,
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about
That
aging
porcelain
beautifully.
little, she looks like a doll. Yeah.
Yeah. She was a ballerina too
She,
for a while.
well, that's what, well, the segment about her was showing her doing ballet. And Howard essentially said, how does it feel that you failed at ballet? You know, what do you do now or whatever?
What a way to ask.
I mean, that's not the exact wording, but that was the wording. Since
Yeah.
ballet didn't work out for you, how's acting going? You know, whatever.
Oh my Lord. What a
Like
great
that kind of.
guy.
It was very much that was the spin, and I was like, oh God.
Well, just to
But
round out the events, the
yeah.
very last one would be the top two teams would do a tug of war.
Oh, I
So
loved the tug of
the
war.
tug of war, and it could be, again, these are actors. And in this tug of war, these people meant
They
business.
did. Nobody was like, oh, my face, my nails, my whatever. Everybody went full bore.
Hardcore.
Mhm.
And I remember one, and I can't remember. I remember who was at the point of one. I feel like it was Mark Harmon, shockingly, on the other. It was Scott Baio, who was very athletic, but certainly
Small.
not a
A
buff
small
guy.
guy.
He was
Yeah.
skinny.
Yeah.
And I think Mark Harmon might have been at the point of the other one.
You
But
mean the
that
anchor
was
position? You mean
it.
he put Scott Baio as the anchor?
No, they were in the
Oh,
front
oh, I
position.
was like, whew, that's not
Yeah.
nice.
I don't remember who the anchor guys were, but um it was the longest tug of war I'd ever seen on that show. And they were dying. They were like literally dying. And surprisingly enough, ABC with Scott Baio in the front is the one that ended up winning. And he literally flopped down. Like, I'm thinking, these people are going to die from this. It was hardcore.
Because that front guy is to keep himself from getting pulled over even just a little. So he might not be the anchor guy, but you've got to work just as hard. And those people in the middle, a lot of which were those stars like our Charlie's Angels girls or whatever, they
Yes.
had to pull for real.
There was another time when Robert Hedges, who was
Yes,
Barbarino,
Epstein. Epstein.
Epstein, I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Epstein. He was the front person
He's a
and
strong little guy, though. Short, but strong.
very strong legs,
Yeah.
which the front person kind of has to have because they're
Yeah.
bracing
They
themselves
are
on
bracing. They don't
the
want to get
wood.
one toe pulled over.
But
Yeah.
these people meant business. They didn't half-ass it, pardon
No,
me
I
for
loved the
using
tug
that,
of
but
war. We used to
they
do a tug
didn't.
of war at school a lot. I remember in
Yeah.
gym class, really pull
Yeah.
it. You didn't want to get pulled
Yes.
over. It
Yes.
was like such a thing. Kids don't do a tug of war anymore, I don't think. Maybe they should. It's character building.
Yeah, there is no character building anymore.
That's true. Maybe that's the real recap of this show is that everybody had the work ethic and brought it even to something like this, even though it
Yes.
isn't their usual thing, they really brought a strong work ethic to it.
And that there are winners and losers. And
Yeah.
that's how life is.
Yeah.
It's not a statement of who you are.
Right.
It's just the world.
Right.
As it was anyway. I mean,
Right.
sometimes you win and sometimes you don't. And
Right.
either way, it's okay.
Right.
You have to be able to move through those things. But I don't know.
That tug of war, though, the tug of war, the kayak relay, and the dunk tank are my three favorites. I just
Now,
love
see,
it.
I would always buzz through the dunk tank. I don't know.
why.
I think
I like
because
the
I felt
flashback.
uncomfortable with it.
Oh, well, I really only watched the 70s ones. A lot of times it seems like they put the guy in and there was so much smack talking. Like
Yes.
Rich Adams was on the platform and he was like smooching up against the glass, like you guys will never get me. And then, like I said, Kevin Dobson. And you know who is the best arm ever is Ron Howard.
Yes, because he played
has
baseball.
cannon arm.
He
Oh my
He
God.
and Billy Crystal both, I think, had offers to play. I don't know if it was pro baseball or if it was college baseball or what, but they both, I think, had offers to play baseball.
Same with that Richard Hatch. He was also either played pro or was offered a pro position, but man, an arm on him too. Oh my gosh. But and I know the Happy Days gang. I think Gary Marshall that did Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, I believe Mork and Mindy, all those spinoffs. He would do a softball games amongst the
Yeah.
stars, right? Because you would sometimes see in those little celebrity magazines that we would get where
Yes.
all the Happy Days characters and their caps and their everything. So, man, they must have had Ron Howard pitch because he has an arm on him. Wow.
Yeah, Ron
Yeah.
Howard's a very good athlete.
Yeah, he
And
really was.
he would say that because he liked baseball so much as a little boy, on the set of the Andy Griffith show, Don Knotts and Andy would throw the ball with him all the
Oh, I
time.
bet. I bet. Oh my gosh.
Which is so sweet. Like
It
you
is
just
sweet. Yeah.
again, I hope
Oh,
that there are sets for the children like that again,
yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
doubting it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But
I think it's hard for people to understand, though. I think the real charm of this show, I just want to reiterate, is that we didn't know much about their lives. You
right,
know, we
right.
didn't, I guess we didn't want to in a way, but this was a fun little way. You just saw the happy side, it's fun because it's a sporting event. Of course, you're going to vote for, Freddie Boom Boom Washington because you love this show over whoever. But it was fun. It was fun. And it was fun to see a little glimpse of the stars not playing their roles.
I agree with you. I wrote down a few favorite moments. Did
Well,
you by
yeah, lay it on me. Lay it
Okay.
on me.
So the first one has to be Jacqueline Smith in the running relay. So she was running, I can't even remember who she was running against, but she was being handed the baton last. So
Okay.
she was way
You had
behind.
to run it
And
in. Whew.
she just had the most beautiful, long, loose stride. And OJ Simpson was announcing at the time, he was like, oh my God. And of course, Howard Cosell was, look at little Jackie Smith.
Yeah, he always has to give someone a nickname. Oh, God.
And really, she just, you know, busted ahead of these two women, pretty much winning the relay for ABC. Uh, and Heather Locklear, same way. Heather got to be known as being a good runner, but she would just destroy everyone that she was running with in the relay portion of it.
Those are
She
the ones I remember. Heather Locklear just being so athletic. Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
And Christy McNichol was sort of the female version of Scott Baio in
Yeah.
the obstacle course in
Yes.
particular.
Yes. That obstacle course. Yeah. Well, she was the one on the episode I saw, and this was like a standout for me because I always like the kayak, like I said. But she got in that kayak and she was just like boom, 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 boom. And she
And
was
she would
14. She was 14.
and she would do it like with her.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
She
Yeah.
was so cute.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my
And you
gosh.
could tell how nervous they all would get
Yeah.
because they want it so
They
much.
wanted to
Like,
win. They did. They
yeah.
wanted to win.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of who it was. Was it Billy Crystal? So the first time Billy Crystal ran the obstacle course, he practically lost his teeth because at that time, what they scooted under was a net,
Yeah.
that very first thing. And he came up a little bit too early and got his mouth like caught in the net.
Okay.
I know. I mean,
A side note, you guys remember Billy Crystal from SNL, but he was on a show called Soap
yes,
for ABC, I think, maybe. I
ABC.
think ABC. So,
Yeah.
and they were saying when I did my little bit of research too, just to refresh myself, that he would sometimes co-host once in a while.
Yes,
Come
he
on.
did. He did come back and co-host, and he was
Mhm.
really good at it because
Yeah,
he
sure.
added funny, but he was nice to the
Yes.
people.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
little Debbie Allen,
Mhm.
the
Oh, well,
great
she's
dancer,
so fit. Oh my gosh.
so fit and so beautiful, and
Got
a
big
really great
dreams. You
dancer,
want
by the way.
fame?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she almost injured herself badly in the obstacle course, and everybody was just again, she's on the show Fame at the time
The
where
dancer.
yes, and she almost could have ruined her career.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you think back about it, but I
Hmm.
give them so much props. When you
I
look
do.
back on it, even the people like who didn't do that well at it,
Hmm.
they
Hmm.
tried really hard. I
Yeah.
never saw anyone give it nothing,
Again, I think it's a work ethic from yesteryear that some
Right.
people still have, but I think it's that they're going to give it
The
their all. either way.
The only person I ever saw, and I was like, why is he on this show? And I love him. It's Tony Randall. Tony
Oh,
Randall was
God.
on the show. I know. He was on the show as one of the captains, and I
Oh,
don't recall seeing him in any of the events.
well, that's probably why they made him captain. He didn't,
Well, I thought it was a requirement. They had to be in at least
Well,
one.
I noticed even Telly Savalas, he knew which events to pull himself back from. Like Howard made a little dig, or maybe it was Bob Conrad said, I noticed you're not wet in this relay race or whatever. And he's like, baby, you got to choose the best of the best for this, or whatever. I don't know what he said, something
Well,
like that.
and I forgot to say one of the ones that they often would just show little parts of. They did, oh, now I've forgotten what it's called. What is it when he tells you what to do and he had,
Like the captains give you a pep talk, you mean? The team?
no, it's a children's game. Oh my
Oh,
God.
Simon Says. Simon
Thank
Says.
you. Thank
Oh, they
you.
did do Simon Says, didn't
Yes.
they?
So I'm thinking Tony could have been in that and
Yeah.
gotten away
Oh, I
with,
forgot about Simon Says.
the Simon.
Competitive Simon Says. Better
Yes.
know.
Yes. And the guy who did it was like an expert at it. I mean, he was
Yes.
getting everybody. It's pretty
Yes.
funny. But they would show little parts of that just
Yeah.
because
I always
people were
loved,
wanting to, as it went on, people were wanting to see the good competition things,
yes, yes. I always loved Erin Moran. I thought she was so cute and energetic, and she was good at the events. God
I
rest her
can't
soul.
remember which one she was on.
It would have been more the early 80s ones because I
Okay.
don't think the
Okay.
70s ones
Maybe the
because
Happy Days or Joni Loves Chachi
it
ones.
could have been because they went to 88. I believe, yeah, it might have
Okay.
been the Joni Loves Chachi era.
Yeah.
But she was always so cute and energetic, and she definitely brought that energy to the games too.
So
But
I
she,
know for sure, speaking of Joni,
Mhm.
that Scott Baio was in a relationship with a girl that was on there
Mhm.
every time, I think, except maybe like the very first or second one. But he was in one with Heather Locklear. And
Heather
then
Thomas, I think too, from Fall Guy.
maybe. I know for sure Nicolette Sheridan. And I think he was with Randy Oakes as well, I think.
I don't know about Randy Oakes. I know her and Gregory Harrison got married in the 80s, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure.
So
Someone tell. But
probably not
definitely.
her then. But I
Oh,
was,
you know who is always on too is oh, I love her so much, Joyce DeWitt. And she's
yes.
athletic. Joyce DeWitt was pretty athletic as well.
The thing
From
that was
Three's
hard for
Company.
Joyce, though, when she
Uh-huh.
was like in the running relay, she's a distance runner,
Yeah, she digs
which is
in.
much
Yeah,
harder to do the
yeah.
short spurts.
But they always had her on. Jenny Lee Harrison was on from Three's Company. I kind
Suzanne
of thought
Summers was on once.
Suzanne Summers. Yeah, I wonder if Priscilla Barnes. I don't know. That would have been later.
I
But
don't
Joyce
recall
DeWitt
ever
was on
seeing
more
her.
than one time, I feel like, for sure. I
Yeah,
remember seeing her on there.
yeah.
But yeah, I like Joyce DeWitt. I don't think John Ritter was on, was he? I don't recall seeing
No, I
her,
don't
but
ever
I don't
remember.
recall seeing
Robin
her.
Williams was on once.
Can you imagine corralling that energy to play a sport?
No,
You're
no,
like,
I.
just take this and run, and he's like 2 states over.
He must have done one of the water events
Yeah.
because he was in his little speedo.
So you always had to be marginally fit in those days. I mean,
He's very hairy guy. And what did he
yeah.
say? Something
I'm
like I'm
sure Howard
furry
said
but
something.
fabulous or something like
Right.
that.
Oh, but no, really every major star. I mean, we just said some exceptions, but I mean, John Forsythe didn't jump into the pool, but I mean,
No, no.
certainly other people
Oh,
from
speaking
Dynasty.
of Dynasty, though,
Oh,
John
what?
James. Oh my
Oh,
God.
yeah.
He was one of my big crushes back in the
John
time. And
James
what
is
a
a
great
handsome
athlete
guy.
he was.
Yeah,
He could do all of the events. He
right.
was great at the swimming, he was great at the running.
Yes. John
Great
James
athlete.
was, yeah, he was definitely a quintessential like mid 80s hunk for sure.
Yes.
He said yes. Yeah.
I
Who
had
was
a
his
big
character on Dynasty? He's not
Jeff,
Steve and Jeff. Yeah, yeah,
Jeff
yeah. Jeff
Colby.
Colby. That's right.
And he was married to Fallon at the
Right. He
beginning.
sure was.
And
Sure.
Fallon like rejected him. I'm like, yeah, Fallon, whatever.
No,
You're
I
a
don't
nut.
get it either. Fallon in her Pamela Sue Martin days, not her Emma Samms days.
Right,
I always
right.
liked Emma Samms. She was on General Hospital too. I wasn't a big General Hospital girl, but I think Fallon was kind of one of those roles that maybe at the time was hard to take over, but I always thought she was so cute.
Yeah, she did
Emma
a pretty good
Samms.
job at it,
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is tough to take over a character that's been on for more than a year or so. So
Yeah.
Jack, I can't think of Jack's last name, but he took over for Stephen Carrington.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the original guy was only on one
It
season.
really
So
was only very shortly
yeah.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah. Well, this is a totally different segment. I was about to go down the dynasty road,
I
but
know.
anyway.
We'll
So,
need to do that
yeah, the
sometime.
whole cast and I'm sure the castmates from Dallas were on Battle with the Network Stars.
Patrick Duffy, Victoria
Patrick Duffy.
Principal,
Patrick
Charlene
Duffy
Tilton.
is athletic.
Yeah.
That's another guy that's the total package.
Well, the first time he was on for Man of Atlantis.
Oh, that's right. That was only one season, I'm pretty sure.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
think, again, he set a record at that time for the obstacle course.
Not for swimming, surprisingly.
Right, right. And actually, later when he came on, when he was on Dallas, he was in the swimming relay, and Lyle Waggoner beat him.
Well, Lyle Wagner, though, is a buff guy. Most of the time when Carol Burnett was not doing comedy, he played the handsome,
Yeah,
host of the whatever
yeah,
little segment.
yeah, yeah.
And all the ladies, when Carol turned up the lights to say, anybody have any questions, they'd be like, is Lyle back there?
So who do you think, in watching the ones that you watched, was the most unlikely great athlete? We've already said Gabe Kaplan.
Yeah, it has to be Gabe Kaplan. I think Penny Marshall. Like
Yeah.
I said, there were some segments where now she would come at it like, oh God, can I do it? But she was surprisingly very athletic, Penny Marshall.
And I think deep down was confident.
I think she was too.
She was trying to portray.
Right? She plays it a little bit like, oh, can I do it? But yeah, Penny Marshall. God rest her.
There's a kind of a funny little thing. I don't know if you recall, but she was on and Rob Reiner was on, and they were married at the time.
They sure were. Yeah.
But they were on different networks. So they were sort of against each other. Mm-hmm. And she is just performing beautifully. And they don't ever show him in the running relay, but they show him off limping with her like helping him along. And I was like, oh, poor Rob.
He's another one, though, that did have some professional level baseball skills or some kind of college level baseball skills.
Oh, gosh.
I would say look that one up. So I feel like when he was doing the dunk tank, which they tried to call the baseball throw.
Yeah.
Sound legitimate. They were saying that he performed poorly, but that he had some actual training.
Oh, okay. Huh.
I could be wrong. Maybe
that was talent.
Maybe that was Howard Cosell being mean. Maybe that was tongue in cheek, but but no. Well, sorry, go ahead.
Howard would have brought up the poor running,
Yes. Yes.
After being humiliated in the running relay.
Exactly. Well, not a guy in the best shape when he played Meathead on All in the Family. I mean, not kind of a big clunky guy.
I think he's just a big clunky guy anyway.
Yeah, God rest him.
Yeah. Terrible thing that happened to him. Good Lord.
It is funny to see, though, back then, like we said, Farrah Fawcett Majors and Lee Majors was on $6 Million Man, and then Rob Reiner and Penny Marshall. It is fun to see that those things were always interesting to me as a kid too. I understood they weren't their characters, but it was funny that they were married to me.
Yes, I know. I know.
But
I'm trying to think of who do you remember the guy who I hope I have the right one. I think he was the son on Sanford and Son.
Oh, Demond Wilson.
Yes. Excellent runner.
Yes. 100%.
Because he was not a super thin guy.
No.
But
not heavy, but like a stocky guy. Yeah.
Not fat either.
He was quite an athlete in general, I feel like.
Yes, he did. Demond Wilson. Was quite good and unexpectedly so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of, you can't not say, now it just went right out of my head. Carry on.
Well, I was going to say, as much crap talking as he did, Bob Conrad's quite an athlete. And he was an older guy
Yeah.
by then, too. I mean,
Yeah.
older by Hollywood standards. And he's a
True. He was
solid
in his
athlete.
40s, I think, at
Yeah,
that
he's a
time. Yeah.
solid athlete. Dude, always tan, outdoors. That
Yeah.
was the other thing about that. Oh my gosh, now we kind of know better, but they were so tan.
I
All these stars were
know.
like just so tan.
I know, but
Oh
they
my
looked
gosh.
healthy that
Yeah,
way.
they looked great. I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks great, but I'm
I
just
mean,
saying
I
it's
got
funny.
spots on my face from tanning without
No,
sunscreen,
but they were
but
always so tan. So you could tell they really were out playing that beach volleyball, practicing up. But I
yeah.
don't know. I think it just goes back to simpler times. We were entertained. I wouldn't say more easily because now kids are entertained like duh, duh, duh. But at the same time, we liked our specials. We liked our, quirky little things.
Yeah, because I always liked the Barbara Walters
Oh,
specials
me
and the
too.
Rona Barrett specials,
Because it gave us this glimpse of the stars that we didn't see.
and a glimpse of them not in character.
Yes.
And a lot of times they were very nervous and self-conscious, and
Yeah.
it kind of made you go, gosh, you wouldn't think someone like that would be nervous
Right.
and self-conscious or whatever. Now, of
Right.
course, with Barbara Walters, like some of the questions she would ask, I thought were
She's
really
rude.
below the belt.
She could
Yeah.
be very rude, I thought, in
Yeah.
many ways. Yeah.
Very
Abrasive.
unnecessary
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
But
Maybe not Cosell rude, but bordering up.
yeah, Cosell was like shtick kind of rude. Like
Yeah.
that was his thing. And you could even see him, like if he said something really terrible, he would almost kind of backtrack and not never apologize,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
say, "Oh, but he's a great player," or "He's a great,"
Yeah. Yeah.
kind
Well,
of try to make up for it.
and some of it was funny, like Sonny Bono's such a small little guy, and he's like, "We're all counting on the rugged body of Sonny Bono to win this one." It's like, that makes you chuckle.
Poor
I
Sonny.
mean,
I can remember Cher's eulogy of him where she was
yeah,
like, he allowed himself to be the butt of the jokes for
yeah,
the sake of the show.
yeah,
And that did, I'm sure, carry over quite a bit. I remember when he was it Congress he was elected to, or
yeah.
Senate?
I can't remember. I think he's a senator.
Yeah.
I could be wrong,
And
everyone. And he was the mayor of Palm Springs, I believe.
yes, started out as that, and
Hmm.
always the butt of jokes about
Right,
that as
right,
well. But
right. Well, it's
um
interesting, we have Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz inventing that sitcom format that we know.
yeah.
But I think in a lot of ways, Sonny and Cher invented that first time where the guy was the butt of the joke.
Yes.
Because if you think about I Love Lucy, Ricky never really gets blasted. It's always you're talented, and we all look to Ricky. Even Ethel goes, "Can we, Rick? Are we allowed?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we do this?" But I think Sonny and Cher was the first time where he went, I'm the dressing over here on the side. This is the anchor piece. This is the featured star.
Right. Right.
And he let himself take the joke. But then after, there's a lot of strong women roles where the guy is kind of the joke, or the dad's a little bit the joke, and the
Right.
mom's the strong person.
Or
And
even later on in like the cop shows like Remington Steele, and even
mhm,
Moonlighting to a certain extent, where
yes.
the woman was
She's the brains behind Remington Steele. He's
yes,
literally
yes,
playing a character.
yes.
Yeah, 100%. And I think to some extent that format started with Sonny and Cher.
Yeah, you're because poor Donny Osmond was victimized by that too, and I think they
Right.
were trying to be like Sonny and
Yes.
Cher.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think so as well. I think so as well. And you're right, in that eulogy, she said that beautifully,
she
that
did.
he
She
allowed
did.
himself to take on that role. And honestly, she was too shy to sing. He just started singing because he would stand next to her so she could sing, because he believed in her
Yeah, and
talent.
he knew he was not a good singer.
Yeah.
He was the
Yeah.
first to admit that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
had something clearly
Yeah.
because he made them famous,
Right.
basically.
Right. Right. But
But there's
anyway,
always that one person behind
yes.
stars that, some of them
Yeah.
more vile than others, but
Right.
they were the people that, like the
Right.
Loretta Lynn story and her
Yeah.
husband, and a
Yeah.
bit vile, but
Yeah.
certainly
Yeah.
made her a star.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, I think there's nothing, I don't think they tried to reboot very briefly Battle of the Network Stars in 2017. And boy, did it flop for a
It
couple
flopped.
reasons. Couple reasons. We see too much of everybody now. Also, you are not a star. I'm sorry, you guys. If you are Insta famous or something, that
Yeah.
is different from what we're talking about with stars. We're talking about people that could act, sing, dance, play volleyball, apparently swim.
Yes.
We're talking about talents, not just marketing skills.
And also, like I think I said this about someone in a previous video, but these people scored TV shows when there were only 3 networks.
Yeah.
In 2017,
Yeah.
we were in the height of this beginning of the streaming and the millions, certainly on cable, millions of channels.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, getting a show was much easier to do than it was back then.
Right. You're right. You're
You
right.
had
These
to
are
have
You had
it
to have
all.
talent, and these were dues paying people.
Yes.
They took the small roles, they did odd
A
jobs.
much
Yeah,
smaller paycheck than they get these days for doing virtually
that's true
nothing.
too. That's true too. Agreed.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't mean to be too hard on the people of today. It is what it is. Times change.
right. And you have to roll with it. That's true. And it's enterprising to make money a different way or whatever. But our point is these, yeah, three networks, a handful of shows,
Yes.
a small handful of shows that had staying power and made it, and that we know all of those stars today. And I was talking to someone the other day. This is going to go down a side road, but about the cast of Taxi, and you and I have said it before, but what a dream cast!
Oh my
All
God.
like a talented group of people.
Every
I mean,
single one of them.
yeah, yes. So I think, yeah, it was just indicative of a different time. But I think again, the most fun part was just seeing our favorite stars being themselves.
Yeah. And interesting about Taxi and the brilliance of all those people,
Mhm.
I bet if you took Tony Danza's salary in Taxi and even just a decade later his salary from Who's the Boss,
Mhm.
the difference there, back then they just weren't making the bucks.
I think the studios probably made it. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
the networks made it, and
Yes.
probably their agents and producers. And yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Exactly.
I think
Exactly.
so.
But
Well,
I'm so happy we're giving these people props who attempted this very taxing thing who were not real athletes. Some of them had been. That's pretty clear.
mhm,
Mark
mhm.
Harmon, was a couple of the people said I think it might have been JJ Walker.
Yeah.
Remember
Yes.
JJ?
Jimmy Walker. Yeah.
He was one of the captains at one point, and I
Yes, he
think he
was.
even said, you got a guy from USC
Yeah.
quarterback here trying to compete with me, like
It's so true. And
it
that's something
is.
to know. But like you said, giving full effort.
Yes, yes,
I think it's cool. I think it's cool. It's just indicative of, like I said, a different mindset, maybe too.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
this
I
has
love
been
it.
really fun.
This
Did
was
you have
very fun.
any highlights or anything,
I
or?
didn't have any highlights. I more just wanted to say that, just anybody and everybody. And I was always just impressed with the level of effort, like you said. And
Wow.
then Howard Cosell's just a stand.
Yes. Hey, you know what I did find out when I was trying to rewatch? Easy for me to say,
Yeah.
rewatch a few of
Yeah.
these. That there was a show that came, I don't know if it was the end of the 80s or what, called Star Games.
Hmm.
And I thought, oh, this is just the same show they renamed. And basically it was, but what they did that was a little bit more interesting was they had shows competing against each other.
Oh, that's fun.
So the one
That's
I caught
fun.
was the Brady Bunch, the
What?
Waltons, and Love Boat
Oh my
competing against
gosh.
each other, and it was almost like a big tournament. So those 3 would compete, and
Yeah.
then the winner would go on to the next round,
Oh,
and then
that's fun.
and
That's
the
fun.
Brady Bunch were so good. Oh my
Was
gosh,
what
Mary Williams was like an expert swimmer.
what was the era of this?
I'm guessing it had to be late 80s.
Yeah, it would have been, because if this unless they were running simultaneously, if this was 88 when it ended, yeah.
And again, there was a few shows that again I was like, "What's that?" It was like Comedy House or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. I
yeah.
didn't recognize one single
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
person on it,
Yeah, yeah.
but, there were some that you would expect. That I think
Yeah.
Dallas was there, Dynasty was there. Um,
That's a
yeah,
fun way to do it though, when the whole cast is
it
competing
kind of
against the cast. I
is. It
like that.
kind of
Yeah.
is. Because even the Brady Bunch was like, Dynasty has a huge cast. He's like, "It's just the 6 of us. There
Yeah,
was no
yeah. This
other
is
choice,"
it. Yeah.
like
Yeah, that's true. That's
but
very true.
even Maureen competed, which kind of
Yeah.
surprised me. I mean, the other 2 girls were a little bit better. Like, in typical Maureen fashion, she would do each event perfectly, but just not fast.
Yeah, yes. Oh gosh. Her form is great, but she's not
Her
gonna
form
win.
is
Yeah.
great, and she looked very pretty while she was
Yeah, yeah,
doing it,
yeah.
but it just wasn't fast.
Got it. Noted. The Marsha style. Yes, got
Yes. Where
it.
Jan and Cindy were grunting through
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Covered in mud. Marsha's like this, music playing.
Marsha's like, "Pedal, pedal, pedal on my bicycle." I'm just having to play with my
Sunshine day. I love it. Oh
Oh
my
my gosh,
gosh.
but the 3 boys were amazing.
That's
Like,
great. I have
yeah,
to go
I
back and
was
look at that.
shocked.
I would recommend that all of you go onto YouTube because they have the full episodes. Watch some episodes of Battle of the Network Stars. You're going to enjoy it. It's very kind of kitschy and very of much a niche thing now, but at the same time, very fun, very enjoyable. And it may prompt you to want to watch the show that these stars came out of because it's very
Yeah,
funny.
very much so. I enjoy this so much,
I
and
did
I
too. It was
really
such a good show.
enjoyed going back and watching them again and trying to find them
I'm
on
gonna watch
YouTube.
some more. I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna watch some more. I need to watch some of the tug of wars because I forgot how much I liked that.
Yeah, I remember the one. I'm sorry to jump back, but
No,
there
no.
was one where Kurt Russell, who's
Yes,
married to
because he
Goldie
was on
Hawn.
Wonderful World of Disney a lot, you guys. So
Yeah, but
sometimes
I
they would
can't
let him
remember
talk
what
in one.
show he was representing. I think it was called,
Mm-hmm.
like, Quest or something like that,
Oh,
maybe? It was in it one of those NBC ones that
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 didn't
didn't make
last
it.
too long.
But
Yeah.
in the tug of war, he was the front guy,
Uh-huh.
and he was trying so hard, he bit through his lips, and his lips were bleeding. I mean,
That's
this
how
is
we did
the
it back then,
effort.
y'all.
This is the effort they were putting in.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. I
I
mean, I
just
don't love it
cannot
together, but
get
I love
over
the
that
effort. I know.
and say it enough,
Those tug of
like
wars were brutal. That was the best example. Oh, wait, I'm going back to watch. I'm going to watch. Everybody, drop below if you remember Battle of the Network Stars, who your favorite athlete was, who surprised you, and definitely comment if you're going to go back and watch some episodes again just to refresh yourself. It was so much
Yes.
fun. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. All right. As always, please, you guys, subscribe, like, follow, comment. Always feel free to let us know if you have a subject you would like for us to cover as well. And we want to hear your memories, your feedback as well. And as always, we thank you for tuning in.
Yes, thank you.
All right. We'll see you
See you
next
next
time.
one.
That's right. Bye, everybody. Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.